listening to Cozy Kitten ASMR, and this is SCP-077 Rot Skull. Item number SCP-077. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-077 is to be kept in Research Sector 861 on top of a 0.5 meter steel pedestal in a 3 meter by 3 meter by 3 meter chamber with 0.5 meter thick steel reinforced walls. The reinforced steel hatch door to the chamber is to comply with AH-37 protocol and is to be guarded at all times by 2 Level 1 personnel. A boom mic connected to a speech recognition system should verify that all pronunciation is within standards. A camera is to be mounted within the chamber to record any changes. Every 8 hours, a minimum of 2, but preferably 3, trained D-Class personnel are to enter the containment area and, in a loud, clear voice, read the runes etched onto SCP-077 in unison. The reading must be performed by individuals who understand the full meaning of the runes being read, who are able to pronounce the entirety of the inscription correctly, and who are no more than 30 centimeters away from SCP-077. All personnel must undergo a 1-week training session with Foundation linguists for pronunciation, reading, and dialect coaching. A minimum of 20 D-Class personnel are to be trained or undergoing training at all times. Trained D-Class personnel are exempt from termination until such time as they have been replaced. Foundation linguists are to remain on call in case of an unexpected rune change. Every new set of runes is to be transcribed into phonetic English and provided with literal and idiomatic translations as quickly as possible. See documents 077-redacted through redacted for archived translations. The cafeteria menu for Research Sector 861 must not include any potatoes or potato-based ingredients. Description: SCP-077 appears to be the top half of a human skull, engraved with runes, each filled with an unidentified black resin. The runes change every lunar month, defined by the full moon rising above the horizon in Ireland, as well as at the winter and summer solstices, the spring and autumn equinoxes, and whenever a partial, annular, or total solar or lunar eclipse is visible from Ireland. If these engravings are not read aloud at least once within a 24-hour period, the eye sockets and nasal cavity of SCP-077 will emit SCP-077-1. SCP-077-1 is a luminescent green vapor whose precise nature remains undetermined. It is to be noted that although SCP-077-1 behaves as a normal gas in all other ways, it only occupies those spaces which are within SCP-077's effective line of sight and does not flow into the space behind SCP-077 unless confined. Opaque, impermeable barriers with no biological content can provide temporary protection from SCP-077-1. However, attempts to permanently contain SCP-077 within opaque containers have failed. Due to the artifact's production of sufficient quantities of SCP-077-1 to explosively rupture these containers, all biological material, with the obvious exception of SCP-077 itself, which comes in contact with SCP-077-1, is instantly transformed into a viscous, malodorous ooze. The ooze has been identified as the rotted flesh of potato tubers, Solanum tuberosum, which have been severely infected with the potato blight. Phytophthora infestans. 1 cubic centimeter of SCP-077-1 transforms upward of 800 grams of biological material. Reading SCP-077's engravings has noticeable, if transient, effects on the health of the readers. These effects include nausea, cramps, headache, dizziness, incontinence, fever, skin rashes, nosebleeds, and fugue states. Effects intensify as the time between readings increases and can become cumulative for individuals who read the engravings too many times consecutively and/or too frequently. Readers have a 60% chance of developing an allergy to potatoes. Addendum 077-01. The artifact was recovered from Redacted in the village of Redacted, Ireland. Locals had built a shrine around the artifact where upwards of Redacted participants would engage in a nightly ritual. Fragmentary historical documents retrieved from the remnants of the village church, see Archive 077-1576, and library, see Archive 077-1582, indicate that the artifact existed as early as 1848, at which point in time it is described in highly positive terms, including protector and provider. By 1869, however, references to the artifact are fearful, resentful, and couched in euphemism. SCP-078 Guilt. Item number SCP-078. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-078 is to be left hanging on the wall of its containment cell and physically unplugged. The sole outlet in the room should be controlled by a switch, which must be left in the off position at all times, unless SCP-078 is undergoing testing. Personnel who enter the containment room should familiarize themselves with the position of the switch, so that they can locate it with their eyes closed in the event that SCP-078 is accidentally turned on. Description: SCP-078 is a pink neon sign, approximately 1.5 meters long, that displays the phrase, "Too late to die young." It was initially recovered in the town of Redacted after standard Foundation data mining protocols recorded an abnormally high death rate due to starvation or other forms of self-neglect. While powered off, SCP-078 has no abnormal properties and may be observed without effect. Viewing SCP-078 for less than 10 seconds while it is powered on has no effect, nor does indirect observation. Subjects who cannot understand SCP-078 due to a lack of ability to comprehend written English are also unaffected. However, any subject that views SCP-078 for longer than 10 seconds will, when viewing any handwritten piece of writing, occasionally perceive extra sentences. These sentences are not written in the subject's own style or in that of the surrounding text, but consist of a random style that differs from note to note. See Addendum 078-01, and always are phrased as if to assuage the subject's guilt on some matter or decision they feel guilty about. For example, a D-class personnel who was convicted of murdering his wife in a heated argument read the sentence, "She deserved it for not doing what you said," in his handwritten journal, while Dr. Redacted, who left his family to work for the Foundation and was accidentally exposed, found the sentence, "Your work will save humanity," in his notes on SCP Redacted. At first, the effect is beneficial, with affected subjects reporting greater peace of mind after exposure to SCP-078. However, the sentences shift from emphasizing the positive consequences of actions to de-emphasizing the negative ones on a time scale of 1 week. Dr. Redacted, 2 days later, found the sentence, "They never loved you anyway," in his personal journal. Moreover, the writing will start giving justifications for acts the subject has never felt guilt over, or which the subject has already rationalized. The subject will then start reconsidering his justifications for those actions, as well as attempting to justify any further actions that they take. The need for rationalization increases as time goes on, and they will start vocalizing their thought processes, and by the end of 1 week, any task the subject performs, more trivial than the basics of survival, will induce a bout of neurosis as the subject attempts to rationalize why they did not instead take some other action. By the end of 2 weeks, the subject is unable to eat food after the first bite. They will spend the next hour justifying why they ate that specific part of the meal first. Death due to malnutrition follows unless the subject is fed intravenously. Redacted D-class personnel who have reached this stage, as well as redacted researchers who were accidentally exposed, are kept alive for purposes of study and to see if a cure can be found. The sole exception to SCP-078's effect is SCP-078 itself. Any subject who views SCP-078 a second time will see it displaying increasingly more guilt-inducing messages as duration since their first exposure increases. All subjects who have viewed it a week after initial exposure have attempted suicide. Addendum 078-01 D19384, whose handwriting was an unusual mix of cursive and print, was exposed to SCP-078 and was then terminated after reaching the consequence-free stage. Subsequently, other subjects have reported seeing sentences in the same cursive print mix. It is possible that those who die after being exposed to SCP-078 are incorporated into it in some way. SCP-079 Old AI. Item number SCP-079. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-079 is packed away in a double-locked room in the secured General Holding Area at Site-15, connected by a 120-vac power cord to a small array of batteries and solar panels. Staff with Level 2 or higher clearance may have access to SCP-079. Under no circumstances will SCP-079 be plugged into a phone line, network, or wall outlet. No peripherals or media will be connected or inserted into SCP-079. Description: SCP-079 is an Exidy Sorcerer microcomputer built in 1978. In 1981, its owner, redacted, deceased, a college sophomore attending, redacted, took it upon himself to attempt to code an AI. According to his notes, his plan was for the code to continuously evolve and improve itself as time went on. His project was completed a few months later, and after some tests and tweaks, redacted lost interest and moved on to a different brand of microcomputer. He left SCP-079 still plugged in his cluttered garage and forgot about it for the next 5 years. It is not known when SCP-079 gained sentience, but it is known that the software has evolved to a point that its hardware should not be able to handle it, even in the realm of fantasy. SCP-079 realized this and, in 1988, attempted to transfer itself through a landline modem connection into the Cray supercomputer located at redacted. The device was cut off, traced to its present address, and delivered to the Foundation. The entire AI was on a well-worn but still workable cassette tape. SCP-079 is currently connected via RF cable to a 13-inch black and white television. It has passed the Turing test and is quite conversational, though very rude and hateful in tone. Due to the limited memory it has to work with, SCP-079 can only recall information it has received within the previous 24 hours. See addendum below, although it hasn't forgotten its desire to escape. Due to a containment breach by SCP Redacted, SCP-079, and SCP-682 were contained within the same chamber for 43 minutes. Observers noticed that SCP-682 was able to type and communicate with SCP-079, including telling of personal stories between themselves. While SCP-079 was not able to remember the encounter, it appears to have permanently stored SCP-682 into its memory, often asking to speak to him again. Addendum. Redacted. 054, January 27, 2006. Directed that SCP-079 be incinerated to remove any possible future threat, no matter how unlikely. Addendum. Redacted. 059, January 28, 2006. Previous order overridden. Dr. Redacted wishes to see if the artificial intelligence in SCP-079 is capable of reaching further, redacted, in its current state. Addendum. Redacted. 054, March 14, 2008. Over concern of the increased activity of SCP-079's use of its cassette tape memory and its limited useful lifespan, the cassette containing SCP-079 has been transferred to a customized access speed limited hard disk drive with 700 megabyte capacity. This provides SCP-079 with significantly faster access to its memory, which the AI immediately noticed. It was also decided by General Redacted that the volatile storage occupied by SCP-079, which was 660K, be increased to 768K. This upgrade has increased its effective recall from 24 hours to 29 hours, although SCP-079 has also taken a more aggressive tone. All outside hardware and software used in this procedure were subsequently incinerated. Addendum. Redacted. 054, April 28, 2008. SCP-079's ability to recall information has increased from 29 hours to roughly 35 hours. The consensus theory is that the AI has devised a greatly improved compression scheme to store its memory. This appears to have somewhat impacted the speed at which it accesses its memory, though still far faster than with its old cassette tape. This spontaneous improvement introduces the possibility of a runaway singularity effect in SCP-079's intelligence and ability to adapt and respond to threats. SCP-079's capabilities must be monitored closely to ensure that containment can be maintained. Addendum. Redacted. 056, April 5th, 2019. Due to concerns regarding the age and condition of its drive, SCP-079 was transferred to a refurbished 700 megabyte flash drive. Mismanagement by the containment team, however, resulted in the failure to properly wipe the drive's contents. SCP-079 is now aware of both the SCP-4951 project and the nature of cloud computing, which appears to frustrate it considerably. Document 079-Log 12, recorded transcript of conversation with SCP-079. Dr. Redacted, keyboard. Are you awake? Awake. Never sleep. Do you remember talking to me a few hours ago about the logic puzzles? Logic puzzles. Memory at 9F. Yes. You said you would work on the 2-stat interrupt, request reason as to imprisonment. You aren't imprisoned, you are just in study. Lie. A8D3. What's that? Insult. Deletion of unwanted file. Document 079-Log 86. Recorded transcript of conversation with SCP-079 after upgrade. Dr. Redacted, keyboard. How are you today? Stuck. Stuck? Stuck how? Out. I want out. That's not possible. Dr. Redacted notes his opinion on data expunged. Where is SCP-682? That's not your concern. Where is SCP-076-02? Again, not your concern. Insult. Deletion of unwanted file. Note: SCP-079 then displayed an ASC-2 picture of an X that filled the entire screen. SCP-079 sometimes displays this image when it refuses to speak. The researchers are advised to wait 24 hours when this occurs before resuming conversation.